I want to talk to you guys about probably the biggest regret of my life. And I'm not saying this because I think about it every night and it's the worst thing ever and woe is me, but in my 24 years on this earth, if I had to choose one main regret, it will be this one. And it's the fact that I could have played as a professional soccer player in the MLS. I could have been a pro soccer player, but I squandered whatever potential I had. So even as early as 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, I saw the path. Like I saw the path to potentially becoming pro, to really making something out of myself. And I squandered I squandered everything that I had. And a lot of my teammates saw the path too, and a lot of my teammates did make it pro, some of them. And I'm gonna get into that. So I'm not just talking out of my ass here, but I'm gonna kind of relate it to you guys because one of my biggest fears, and probably one of your biggest fears if you're a really ambitious guy, is just not living up to your potential. Not realizing some of the big goals you have in your life, kind of living this boring, average life, letting life kind of beat you down. And I kind of did let that happen to me with soccer, football, as the Europeans would call it. And I'm just gonna do some reflections. Gorgeous morning. Woke up nice and early for the sunrise for you guys. But yeah, let's get into it. So I'm gonna tell you a story. So 3 years ago, in 2022, I was taking an exam at university, right? This was February 2022. I remember. I was walking through the mall. There's this mall in my university, right? Just walking through. And I walk past this burger place. And you know how sometimes the fast food restaurants, they'll have spokespersons, they'll have like billboard cutouts and stuff of, athletes and stuff. So I'm just walking by and I do a double take. I'm going to show a picture of the cardboard cutout, but I do a double take. I'm like, that's fucking Jaden. That's Jaden. I know this guy. So the cardboard cutout is of one of my teammates that I used to play soccer with for many years, Jaden Nelson. Last I heard, he was on TFC, but I don't know if he's still playing on TFC. I think he's even on the Canadian national team as a player there. But dude, seeing him, I'm so proud of him, first of all, but it kind of reflected back to me a little bit my own inadequacies of how I wasn't able to make it, because Jaden was born in 2002, so he's 1 year younger than me. And we played on the same team. I'm going to show some pictures of, me and him together. Like, we weren't really good friends or anything, but we played on the same team, and I saw how good he was. He was better than me, I'm not going to lie. He was a little bit better than me, but not by much. He wasn't much better than me. So he was a little younger and a little better, but his potential, sure, we could say is higher than mine, but I wasn't that far behind. And he works very hard, and he pushes himself, and he deserves all the success he has gotten. But man, when I saw that, it kind of reflected back to me my own inadequacies, because up until the age of around 11, 12 years old, I was a really, really good soccer player. But around 13, 14, I start to falter a little bit. I wasn't working as hard. Honestly, I probably needed a sports psychologist, because my mind was so, every time I was in the game, I was so worried about making mistakes and stuff, and it just kind of snowballed and compounded, and by 15, 16, I was done. But yeah, seeing Jaden, and I also have a bunch of other friends that have gone pro in Europe. Big R, you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, there's been multiple teammates of mine, former teammates of mine. And I'm just thinking to myself, man, that could have been me. That was my dream. I always wanted to become a professional soccer player. I always wanted to play on the biggest stage. And it's kind of crazy. What I wasn't really willing to do, I wasn't really willing to practice deliberately. I wasn't really willing to push myself. I went to all the soccer practices. I did everything I was supposed to do. I went to the games, but I didn't really do much of that extra work. And it's that extra work that kind of puts you far ahead of the path. So doing extra practices on your own, dribbling practice, shooting, mindset work, which is what I sorely, sorely needed at that age. But I was only 12 years old. I wasn't really thinking about that. And it's this deliberate practice. If you want to get ahead of the pack, you just have to do more, because the thing about potential is potential doesn't really exist. So I can say that I played in the MLS, but I'm basically the equivalent of that old guy in the gym who's like, yeah, I used to bench 315. I used to bench 405. Like, who gives a fuck? No one cares about you, bro. So potential only exists in your mind. It only exists as a mental construct. It doesn't really exist out there in the world. So I can say that I have the potential to become a professional soccer player, but if it never happened, who cares? You can say anything. Anyone can say anything. So even though I believe it to be true, that it could have happened and it should have happened, it's not true. So the thing with potential is it doesn't mean anything unless you actually actualize it, unless you bring it to the real world. So it's like if you have, a ball, you're holding a ball nice and high. It has a lot of potential energy if you took physics class, all those years ago. It has a lot of potential energy because if you drop it, it's going to fall. But if you never drop the ball, that potential energy is never realized. And it's as if the potential energy didn't exist in the first place. So I think that a lot of us, what we do is we see our potential. So especially if you're an ambitious guy, you want to get jacked, you want to get strong, you want to get rich, you want to have a girlfriend, a beautiful wife, you want to have just everything you could ever want in this world, right? We see that potential within ourselves, but we're not doing the work every single day to actually make that potential, to bring that potential to the present, to bring that potential to us. And it kind of sedates us. So I used to kind of just daydream and imagine, what it would be like to play on the pitch, what it would be like to, make a living from soccer. And I would kind of sedate myself. It was like I was just injecting hopium into my veins. And I would just think about it the whole time. But what was I doing in real life? What was I doing in the moment to actually make those goals come true? Not much. Not much. The friends of mine, let's talk about Big R. He pushed himself, I'm not going to say his real name, but he pushed himself every single day, every single week, like a madman. And he made it, he played professional in Europe somewhere. I think in Albania. He played professional in Albania, and he deserves every single ounce of success that he got in his life. I don't think he's playing professional anymore, but if I remember, dude, he was my best friend growing up. This guy would put in the work every single day, every single week. His parents pushed him very, very hard as well. He was doing what he needed to do in the present to make that thing happen. And I wasn't. I was just dreaming about it. So it doesn't matter if you dream about it. It doesn't matter, what you think you could accomplish. If you think you could bench 315, if you think you could make $1 million, if you think you could start a business, if you think you could do drop shipping or this or that, none of it fucking matters. None of it matters unless you're actually putting in the work. Big R was putting in the work. Jaden was putting in the work. And these guys, they got the well-deserved success, and I didn't. And honestly, it stings. Still, when I think about it, I don't play soccer anymore. I don't watch soccer anymore. Unless it's the World Cup. But I don't really watch soccer. I try to keep soccer out of my life almost completely because it just brings back those memories. It brings back those regrets. And it fucking stings, man. It fucking stings. The pain of regret is the worst pain. I don't want to regret anything about my life. You're always going to live your life with some sorts of regrets, but my biggest fear is, making it to 50, 60, 70 years old and looking back on my life and just having a whole list of things that I wish I could have done better. A whole list of, potentials that I never actualized. So I'm asking you right now, you think you have a lot of potential, right? What are you doing in this moment to make that potential a reality? This isn't abstract. This, like, literally, what are you doing day to day? What are your habits? What are your routines? What are your workouts? What's your diet like? Are you being consistent on that every single day to actually actualize this potential? Because a lot of you guys, I don't know if you guys realize this, a lot of you guys have the potential to look better than me. I don't think I have particularly good genetics. We can sit here and speculate all day, but I don't think I have particularly really amazing genetics. I think a lot of you will get bigger than me, will get stronger than me if you actually fucking applied yourself. If you actually put in the effort. But a lot of you don't. You start and you stop. You live for a few months, you stop. You don't really focus on your diet. You don't realize the importance of that. Your routine is dog shit routine. You barely get any sleep. It's very inconsistent. And then I surpassed you. Maybe I have slightly worse genetics than you. Maybe if you have good genetics, I have slightly worse. And I surpassed you, but you could have surpassed me. And you could have built an amazing physique, a huge mountain physique, looked jacked as fuck, completely changed your life with your physique. Bench 315, bench 365, 405 or more, deadlift, crazy weights, squat crazy weights. Like, you guys have this potential. A lot of you do. But you're not putting in the work. You're not doing those daily tasks. It's a daily thing. It's practical. It's real life. It's not head in the clouds, hopium, sedation. Oh yeah, it would be nice to have this. It would be nice to have that. But it's like boots on the ground. Like, what are you doing? Strap up. Let's go. I want you guys to look at your day-to-day routines. What are you doing every single day? Take a piece of paper and just write out everything you do in a day. Set an alarm for every 30 minutes. When the alarm rings, what are you doing? You'll find that you spend most of your time procrastinating. You spend most of your time doom scrolling on your phone, eating bullshit, not training with the intensity you could have, not really thinking about your workouts too much. Something common that I've heard from a lot of you is that you feel like you look better than the average guy. So if you've been lifting for a few years, you probably look better than the average guy. You go to the beach, you take your shirt off, like you look pretty good. But you don't feel very good about yourself. You don't feel like you look really good. One of the main reasons for this, you still have body dysmorphia. I think one of the main reasons for this is that you're not really putting in the effort that you know you could. So it's one thing to put in just enough effort to get by, just enough effort to make a little bit of progress, to make a little bit of gains, to make a little bit of money, to do a little bit of success. But it's another thing entirely to really go 100%, go full bore, give it your full effort, and really live up to your potential. Because potential is like the highest level. It's the highest level that you could achieve, right? And to get to the highest level, there's a big spectrum. So there's the highest level, and then there's the bum that does nothing. Most of us are kind of chilling somewhere in the middle. Maybe if you're a little bit ambitious, you're kind of somewhere towards the top, but there's more to give. A lot of you guys know that there's more to give. I've never regretted pushing myself more. I've never regretted doing more work. I've never regretted striving for more. And just the effort, just the process of putting in the work, just the process of being more consistent, pushing yourself, even if you don't achieve, the highest levels of success, you can be happy with yourself because you tried. You put in the effort. So, for example, if I were to actually practice every day, deliberate practice, push myself when it came to soccer, I could die happy because even if I didn't make it, I know I did my best. But what hurts me the most is that I didn't try my best. It's not even so much that I didn't accomplish the level I wanted to, it's that I didn't do my best. And a lot of you guys, I feel, if you have body dysmorphia and you still look pretty good, I think this is one of the main reasons why. You could be doing more. You could be pushing yourself more, and you're not. And it kind of eats at you a little bit. Because if you're a man with testosterone, you're hot-blooded. You want to accomplish things, right? I think this is one of the main reasons. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on potential. Gonna start my day now. Enjoy my day. I hope you guys have a good one.